Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. This is episode 74. I hope everyone is having a great week. Thursday, we're almost at Friday. I get that feeling when I hear TGIF in the morning, but tonight's guest on tonight's show is Trissity Jane. Trissity Jane is a country music singer, songwriter, so it's a pleasure to have her on the show tonight. So Trissity, tell everyone who you are and take it from here.
Hey guys, well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Super fun. I've actually never done a podcast before, so this is my first one. So I feel
Yeah,
kind of like lucky.
I'm excited to have you. Congratulations on your first podcast. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you. But I'm originally from Indianapolis. I'm born and raised there. I've done music out there pretty much my whole life, and I just recently moved to Nashville this month. So just kind of hitting the music scene, running, doing
Yeah,
the best I can. So
that's awesome. So what has it been like for you moving to Nashville? Because I know you spent your whole life in Indianapolis. So what has it been like being in Nashville now?
yeah, it's honestly been a huge change for me. So I was homeschooled growing up, like all the way through middle school, elementary school, high school. I never actually like went to a public school. So, back home in Indy, I was playing gigs since I was 15, just around, my hometown and my home city and everything, and working really hard. And then um, I decided I wanted to go to college, after I graduated high school, and I moved down to Alabama, and I was going to a school out there for ministry. I originally wanted to work in like a church and do worship ministry, but that didn't really work out so well for me. And doors started opening in country music, and I was kind of like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm cut out for it. And so I was like, well, I guess this is what's happening. So I actually moved back home to Indianapolis for a year. And I lived back home with my parents for a whole year, and I had multiple jobs. I was waiting tables, scrubbing dirty plates,
Jeez. Yeah.
all that fun stuff. I was a nanny for a little bit. I taught music lessons. I was just like hustling for a whole year because I knew I wanted to move to Nashville and move out from under my parents. So I had to do some not so glamorous things in
That's
order to
crazy. Wow.
yeah, it really was. I really learned what hard work is, honestly. And like it was super not glamorous, but I'm super thankful for it now, and really grateful that my parents taught me how to work hard, and they pushed me to succeed and be able to move out to this city, on my own. And I've been really loving it so far. It's interesting because it's a lot of just like meeting random people. Like if people just go up to each other here, like you're playing a writer's round and you just go up to people and you're like, hi, I'm Trissity. And I just here. Which is interesting for me because I'm naturally very introverted.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been a push for me to come out here and then just start. Like honestly, I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to like meet people. um but I
That's
love it.
crazy. That's awesome. So you've had so many, things happen to you in, such a short amount of time these past, I guess, few years, like you said, waiting tables and learning to develop that work ethic. And I'm so glad you said that because I think that's super important, especially for people our age. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 20.
Okay, wow. So you're still pretty young. I mean, I'm 24, I turn 25 in a few weeks, but I still think it's super important for people our age to develop that work ethic and kind of see, what it's like out there because it's not always glamorous. Everyone thinks the media and the entertainment world is super glamorous because they see on Instagram and social media it's the complete opposite. And I'm sure you have, you've put in so much time and effort, and it's just remarkable. Like you said, it's awesome to hear. So I did want to ask you, so you say, on a daily basis you're kind of running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. How do you make those connections with those people, and how do you progress, just moving to Nashville, like in your career?
Honestly, I just like reach out to people, shoot them a DM on Instagram, tell them who I am, like, hey, like would love to get coffee with you, just kind of like trying to meet people, pick other people's brains, see like
Yeah.
how they were able to like advance their career and get more involved in the city. And I would say that's the best way to do it, is just like literally go up and talk to anyone and everyone. I get shot down,
Yeah.
a lot, because, I'm just this young girl who just moved here, up and picked up and just moved here. And, sometimes that can be hard, like getting shot down. You can find yourself being like, man, like, what's wrong with me? They're,
Yeah.
with these other people, like, what is it about me? But the thing I have to remember is it's not me. Everybody's busy. Everybody has their lives going on. Like, it's impossible to please everybody, right? And so,
Yeah.
kind of just like take it and move on. The best thing to do is just be able to like move on and not let it bother you.
So when did country music start for you as a young kid? Like, when did you think to yourself, this is what I really want to do with my life, and this is kind of really where I want to take it?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. So, when I was about 5 years old for Christmas, my parents had bought me like a karaoke machine. And like back then, I mean, which really wasn't too long ago, like 15 years ago, karaoke machines were like so cool.
Yeah.
And my parents bought me one for Christmas. And, I was like 5. So I didn't know much about what I wanted. And they had gotten me like, I think it was the Taylor Swift like Fearless album. And then they got me like top 25 like pop songs or something, like a CD. And my mom taught me I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah.
Karaoke machine. That was the first song like I ever learned to sing. And literally from then, like having that karaoke machine, I love to sing. And, watching like Hannah Montana, growing up with like Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, Taylor Swift. I loved Selena Gomez, like all those like pop stars. I just grew to love music. And then when I was in like 3rd grade, I started writing music and just like by myself in my room. And I'd actually, the first song I wrote was a song about grass. About how amazing the grass was. And that was the first song I came up with. But then I started, getting better and writing even more. And I had a piano teacher when I was in middle school. And I'd shown her some of the stuff I'd written, and she was like, you know what? Like, that's actually legit. Like,
Yeah.
you really have a gift. And I mean, my parents had pointed out, how much they were like, that's really good. And I was kind of like, yeah, you're just my parents, so you're just kind of blowing smoke at me. Like, of course you'd say that. You're my parents.
Yeah.
But later down the road, like a few years later, like years later, my dad was like, yeah, so that first song you wrote, he's like, I actually went and like Googled the lyrics to see if you like copied it off of something. Cause he's like, I didn't think you actually wrote it, which was so funny. But I grew up with country music. I mean, like my parents listened to it in the car all the time. And so, that's how I came to love it. And my grandma, she, liked country music, and she actually had cowgirl boots. And I didn't know much about cowgirl boots. And she gave me a pair of cowgirl boots when I was like 8 years old. And I would wear them around all the time. And like I lived in the city, like the suburbs. And so like
Yeah.
kids would make fun of me for wearing these cowgirl boots. And I loved them, would wear them all the time. And I think it's funny now that like cowgirl boots are trendy.
Yeah.
Like I've always been wearing cowgirl boots, even though I lived in the city. Like I just loved them and loved country music and just loved music in general. So
I'm so glad you brought up the Hannah Montana, Selena Gomez, like the pops, Taylor Swift stuff, because actually recently at work, we've been listening to on our Spotify playlist, like Hannah Montana, Taylor Swift. Like, so it's kind of bringing me back to when I was really young. We actually had that song, one of the Hannah Montana songs play earlier this morning. And I was like, geez, that was like 15, like 16, 17 years ago. Like, where is the time gone? But that's so funny that you kind of brought that up, because that really like resonates with me. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's funny. So yeah, that's just so awesome. You've had, such a crazy journey, and I feel like you're just getting started. You're just moved to Nashville. So what has been your favorite thing about Nashville so far, just moving there?
oh my gosh. Honestly, this is gonna sound so stupid, but like all of the sparkly outfits I see in like the shop windows. Because like I love shopping and I love glitter. Like glitter's my thing. Like you can see like the pink lights like shining on me right now. Like I love pink, love glitter. And like growing up in Indiana, there wasn't a lot of pink and glitter. And so coming here, like I feel like there's just like fun glitzy stuff on every corner. But um I've also loved the like community.
Yeah.
It's like growing up, I never felt like I fit in anywhere, especially being like the homeschool kid.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was weird and different and doing the music too. Like all my friends were going to football games on Friday nights and I was playing some 3-hour acoustic set in a winery. You
Wow.
know, I always just kind of felt left out, but coming somewhere like Nashville where there's so many different creatives, like people doing music, but also songwriters, poetry writers, photographers, graphic designers, like there's just so much creativity and I just feel like I fit and I have
Yeah.
loved about being here.
Yeah, I think that's really, I'm really glad you actually said that, because some people have that problem of like, well, I don't fit into my hometown. And it sucks that you have to feel that way, but sometimes it takes years, months, whatever it is to find yourself. And it seems like you're finding yourself in Nashville. I think it's a perfect fit for you because you're a country music singer, songwriter, and that's the place to be. That's like the mecca of country music. So
Right.
I think it works out perfectly for you. But you were founded in 2017, is that correct? For country, like being coming up as a country singer?
I mean, like, kind of. I mean, that's when I really started taking it more seriously. Yes.
So what was it like for you in 2017? I guess kind of how you were basically discovered, right?
I've never really been like discovered, but back then, like in 2017 was when I started like being like, okay, I want to do music. And I started playing seriously and taking it seriously instead of just being like, oh, I'm singing in the shower, singing in my room. I'm like, I'm going to go out, play shows, meet people, write more songs, figure out how I can get music recorded, all of that kind of stuff.
So you're dropping a new single September 22nd called Gamble.
Yes.
How did that all start? Talk about that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of an interesting story. So one thing about Nashville that I didn't really realize before I got here was that everybody writes songs together.
Oh wow.
Like most songs have like 3, 4, 5 writers on them. I always thought that everyone just wrote their own songs. So I've always written by myself. I've never written with anybody else. And recently, like, I don't know, it was probably like 6 months ago, I met this guy back home who played country music as well. His name is Bryson Cooper. And him and I became really good friends. And me, Bryson, and then this other guy, Shane Lunsford, we got together and we're like, let's write a song because there's not a ton of country music, original country music in the Indianapolis scene. Like it's very much like cover bands. So we kind of banded together some original artists. We're like, let's just write a song. And so we got together and came up with Gamble. And it ended up being better than we thought we were gonna like come out with. We just
Yeah.
met each other, like didn't know each other. I was a girl, they were guys. And but we came out with Gamble and we ended up really liking it. And Bryson and I were like, let's just record it together. And so we did. And over, recording that song, him and I became really close. And he actually moved to Nashville this month as well. So we're both
Wow.
from Indy and living here and have kind of created like a friend group. But it's been great. That was my first song that I've co-written with anybody. I've always written on my own, and that's the first one I wrote with other people. And it's also like my first like duet, like
Yeah.
feature vibe. And so it's been a really cool experience, and I've loved being able to like work with him and work with other people. It's been exciting, and we're doing a little like release celebration. We're playing a writers round together on the 24th just to kind of like celebrate that release. So we're excited about it for sure.
Where did the name Gamble come from? Like the song name, where did that come from?
Yeah, so Bryson actually had the idea of like writing a song about like a casino kind of like vibe.
Okay.
You know, we had talked about it. We're like, well, maybe instead of being like in a casino, we can just talk about gambling, but like gambling on a relationship. So
Wow.
rather than just like gambling your money, we're like gambling on each other. And it's kind of a song that goes back and forth between like the guy and the girl, where he's like, I took a gamble and cheated on you. And the girl
Wow.
took a gamble on being with him.
Wow.
And so that's kind of like the premise of the song. And yeah, we're really excited
That's
about
Yeah, that's really creative. The first thing that comes to mind for me, gambling, is the casino, and then sports gambling. So those two right there are the first things that I think of. I don't think of it like relationship wise, but I'm really glad you said that. That's super interesting. Wow, I'm just like thinking like, yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. So you dropped other singles in the past. What was it like for you dropping those? Because you said that you made music on your own, and Gamble is the first song that you've duetted. So what was it like dropping the other singles?
it. Well, so I think I dropped my first single in 2020. And it was my song called Tell Me. And you know, up until that point, I think I was 17 when I put out my first song. But I'd
Wow.
actually written the songs that I put out when I was like 15 and 16. And you know, it was one of those moments I was so excited to be putting out music,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what genre I wanted to be. And so I love I love all kinds of music. So I do country, but I love pop, I love alternative, I love rock. I love it all. And at that point, you know, at the age I was, not knowing anything about music really in the industry, you know, I'd really just written things that I felt and things that have happened to me in my life. And Tell Me was the first one. And you know, it's a really good song. I still love that song. Um, and you know, it was hard putting it out. It was exciting, but it was hard because I got a lot of backlash putting out my first song. There was a lot of like people from my hometown that were like,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know, saying things to me. And of course, being a young, like 17-year-old girl, it kind of got to me a little bit. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Um, it was discouraging in the moment, but now being 20 and that song being out for 3.5 years, there's so many people that love that song, and it's still like my most streamed song, my first single. And so I think that's crazy to me because it's like, you know, there
Yeah.
were people that were discouraging about it, and like it's my like most streamed song right now, even though I put out more music after that.
Haters gonna hate. It's just the way it is. Yeah,
It is
ads.
what
Yeah,
it is.
it's just one of those things where you just got to keep moving, and you're gonna get those negative people in your comment section. You're gonna get negative people from back home. When it's just I face that as well, so I can completely relate to that. It bothers me, but it's the way it is. It's just how that's the way it is. That's like the way I like to keep it at, because I'm just like, if I read into it too much, if you think about it too much, you're like, it's just gonna get to you. So
Yeah. Well, and I find that, you know, most people that have that kind of attitude,
yeah.
they just wish they could do it. And
Yeah.
so in my head, it doesn't bother me anymore. I mean, like, I still get so much
Yeah.
hate, people like questioning my decisions and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm just living life. I'm just following God's plan, doing my thing, and
Yeah.
it's working out okay. So,
I try to instill this into people that I know and people that I'm very close with. Do what you love and everything else will fall into place. Do what makes you happy. That's what matters the most, not what everyone else thinks. You're going to have those negative people. You're going to have those hater type of people. Doesn't matter.
right.
Do what makes you happy. What you're
Yeah.
passionate about is what matters the most. You're passionate about country music, being a singer, being a songwriter, doing what you love. That's what's more important, not what everyone else thinks and says and how they feel. Their opinion doesn't mean anything. Now, if you ask them, hey, what do you think of this? That's totally different. But if
Right.
they're just giving you negative energy and that negative feel, I would say, peace out. See you later. You
Yeah.
know?
Just got to be confident in, you know, what you're doing, what you have, and just own it. I mean,
Yep.
like, I
Yeah.
know I'm a weird girl sometimes, but like, I own it. Like, I own my personality and I own my music and
Yeah.
my ideas. And I think, you know, once you kind of get that in your head and you're like, okay, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be. And I love who I am and I love myself and I love the gifts, God's given me, like I'm good to go.
Yeah,
And
no, I like that one a lot. I'm glad you said that because owning it, own what's yours. It's what you want to do. Own it. Take pride in it. This is me.
yeah,
This is who I am. This is what you're gonna get. You're not getting a different face. This is me. What you get is what you see. I'm not changing for anybody. I'm not changing for you. I'm not changing for that person. They like you. They either love you or they hate you. See you
right.
later. So, but a few months ago, you actually had a TV performance on the news back home in Indianapolis, correct?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
So what was that like?
That was it was actually funny. So I was doing one of my serving jobs, working in a restaurant, and they had put the restaurant on the news, and the restaurant wanted me to like be the face and like go on the news for the restaurant. So I did that, but then I was, when I was there in the studio, I was like, I kind of want to sing on the news.
Yeah.
So I went up to one of the producers. I was like, hey, this is who I am. Can I do a segment? And she was like, yeah. And they, sent me information and I played. I brought my mom with me because I was like a little nervous. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to do this by myself. So she came with me. And I just remember being nervous. And like I was like, the way it works is there's like this big studio, but then there's a bunch of different acts. So there's like other people there, there was like dogs in there was like a water park and like restaurants and like all these other people in the same room with you, and you're just like waiting your turn. And I remember standing there with my guitar like waiting my turn, and like my mom's like looking over there, like looking at me with her phone, like waving at me like smile. And I literally was like, Mother, I'm so nervous right now, like I cannot look at you. And I was so nervous, but it ended up going really well, better than I thought it did. But I wasn't prepared for like what questions they were going to ask me, or like I didn't know how to do an interview. Like I was like,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
no, I went to journalism school, so I can understand the side of the asking the questions and the interview part. But it's not easy for the guest. It's hard. I mean, you don't know what they're going to ask you. They may ask you the most deepest questions. You're like, I don't know what to respond to this. How do I don't want to sound like an idiot.
yeah, right. But that was really cool. It was great. And then another news station, I don't even remember how I got connected with them. I went and did the same thing for them too, and that was great. The second time I was more like, okay, calm, like I can do this. But I have like a sweating hand problem on my hands,
Yeah.
and my hands sweat really bad, just like all the time. And I just remember like being there, like standing with my guitar, like waiting for the camera to come on, and like my like guitar was like all wet, like my strings were so sweaty. Like so
those lights are extremely bright in those news studios, and it's just they're just the brightest lights of it all. You're like, oh my goodness, like I got to answer these questions. I got to get through this. I got to do it. But you I'm sure you owned it. I'm sure you did good. So I mean that's all that matters. And when you're passionate about it, when you show that you care, it just makes it easier for you. The nerves kind of go away, like you said the second time so.
yeah, it
But
was fun. It was a cool experience. So for sure.
being a country music singer songwriter, there's highs, there's lows, there's tough days, there's good days, there's bad days. It's part of life. What is some of the highs, or what are some of the lows that you've experienced throughout your career so far?
Oh, I mean, there's so many highs. I mean, like it's a cool thing that I get to do. And like I'm beyond blessed. Like I don't even know like how even thus far, like how I deserve to be able to get to do what I do. I love the connections that I've been able to make. Like I have met like great friends in the music industry, and I never thought it would like be that way. Like I always thought like, oh, it's all business and like you got to be business like. And I've actually met some of my like best friends in the music industry. And even like I don't like the word like fans. I think it's weird because like I feel like they're my friends because
Yeah.
like I love getting to see like the support. Like there was one time I was playing, this is the first and honestly the only time this happened. I was playing at a bar in downtown Indy, And I was just playing like an acoustic set, and someone came up and requested one of my original songs. And then people actually knew the words. And it was crazy. Like I wish, like my parents normally come to my like gigs and stuff. They weren't there that night, but I was just like tears like running down my face. Like I want to cry thinking about it now. But it was like one of the
Wow.
coolest experiences because like my songs like mean everything to me. Like I'm so for writing things that are true and that can connect with people and connect with me. And like that was just a crazy moment for me. So I love getting to do all those things. And I mean, like singing on the news, like that's so cool. And like the photo shoots and the outfits, like all those things are so fun.
Yeah.
But I really love being able to like make an impact on people. I think that's like my favorite thing of all. And that's always been something that has kept me grounded while doing this is like, I want to make an impact, a positive impact on people. Like, I don't want to be famous. Like, I just want people to be like, man, that song is deep and that like hits me. And I love that song. And like, I just want people to feel joy when they hear my music, when they watch me play. Like, I just want to bring joy to other people because I feel like the world is lacking so much joy.
When, yeah, of course, when you say you don't want to be famous and you don't want that feel, being in Nashville, I know there's so many country music singers and songwriters and artists there. It's the mecca, it's the country music capital of the world. How do people like fans, or I know you don't like to use the word fans, but how do people react when they see the big country music artists? Let's say Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, Reba McEntire. Like, how do people react? Because I live out here in Los Angeles, and a lot of people don't like react as crazy because like living here, this is kind of like the entertainment capital of the world where all the celebs live and stuff. But like being in Nashville, what is that like for you? Like seeing it kind of on a daily basis, or just like seeing them in passing? Like, what's that like?
Yeah. I mean, I was at some bar and I don't even remember who it was that we saw. I can't remember, but you'll see famous people just like walk by you at the same bar that you're in.
Yeah.
Or you know, like I even like maybe they're playing even in like a writer's round with you and like different things like that. Like you'll see a lot of just like famous country artists. And as someone who like lives here and who's in the industry, like no reaction.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah, like I don't want to go up to someone that's like famous because like potentially I could end up like working with them someday. And
yeah.
you know, I want to have like I don't want them to look at me and be like, "Oh, this girl's just like a fan. She doesn't actually
Yeah.
like, respect my music." And so I think for people that live here and that are in the industry, like there's not a huge reaction to that kind of stuff. Um, but I feel like tourists and people that don't live here, of course, will like go up and be like, let's get pictures. But as someone in the industry, like I try to just like keep my cool.
You try to keep a straight face. You're like, my inner self is like, I'm
I'm freaking
fangirling
out.
right now so hard. Like, I got it. I can't do it. I can't do it. You're like, all right, we gotta wait.
And
So,
there's
but
been times where I
yeah, go
wanted
ahead.
to like fangirl and like go crazy, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
just chill, Trissity.
All right. So who is the biggest country singer songwriter you've seen in Nashville so far? Maybe just in passing.
um, Chris Young probably. We
Oh
saw
yeah.
we saw Chris Young the other day, so that was cool. Um, but honestly, I've only been here 2 weeks,
Oh
so
wow.
I've had a huge opportunity to really be
Uh,
out and about a ton.
that's crazy. You've only been there for 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. So you're just getting your feet on the ground there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh my goodness, that's wild. So when you're not performing, when you're not making music, when you're not perfecting your craft as a country music singer songwriter, what do you like to do in your free time?
Man, I love shopping. I really love shopping. It's a bad habit too, especially being an independent artist living in this city. It's a real bad habit, but I love shopping. I love going on walks. Like, I think walks are really important to me because it's just like a way to just like recenter. It's such an intense industry and it's so hard
Yeah.
and it's so like difficult on your mental health and just like you as a person. Like
Yeah.
it's important for me literally to just sometimes like do nothing. Like go on a walk. I love to watch Netflix, like crime documentaries, like my favorite things ever. Um, and when I'm back home in India, I love my dogs. So I have two chocolate labs and I just love to like take my dogs to Starbucks and hang out with my dogs all the time.
So being in Nashville, because I've been there one time when I was younger, I went to like the scene, honky tonk. What's the street called? I'm not the biggest like Nashville person. I don't know of it like that. What's the main street called?
Broadway.
Broadway, that's what it is. Yeah, because the Titan Stadium's kind of close by, I think, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So other than like that part of Nashville, where are the other like parts other than that? Because I mean, I really only know of that like main hotspot area.
Well, there's Music Row, which is really cool. That's where like a lot of the like record labels are at.
Yeah.
And Music Row is a place you can go and you'll probably see someone famous because that's
Yeah.
where all their labels are at. And they could be in there like recording a new album or, walking around out there. And so Music Row is a really cool place. Like you can just go and like drive by and you'll see like the little like posters of like who's at what label and like all that kind of cool stuff. And there's tons of history there as well. Another cool place that I've been to out here is 12 South.
Mhm.
And that's just like a lot of cute shopping and boutiques, and a lot of people live out there too. So that's a cool place to go as well. But there's tons. I mean, like there's all kinds of touristy things around here.
Actually,
Nissan.
yeah,
Oh, go
now
ahead.
that you yeah, now that you brought that up, I think back to when I was younger. I went there with my parents. It was actually 4th of July. This was years ago. They kind of took us down. We did like a small tour and we did see the country music labels. I think we did go to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I don't think we went to the Grand Old Opry, but I kind of remember now. Okay, so it's kind of like it's a one whole big area type thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool. I live right downtown in
Oh
the city,
wow.
and Nissan Stadium, which is like where the football people play. I don't know a lot about football, but they play like literally. You can like see the stadium from like my apartment,
Oh
which
wow.
which is pretty cool. And there's just like so much life here.
Yeah,
Like,
there's so much going on there. I'm a big food person. I love food. So I have to ask you, what are the good food spots in Nashville? Like what's your place, your go-to now? I guess you've only been there for 2 weeks, but like what's something that you're like, I love that place. It's like growing on me.
yeah, I haven't had a ton of time to like explore in
Yeah.
terms of restaurants and stuff, but from living in Alabama and now living here, I know I love Hattie B's, which is like a southern thing. It's
Uh
like hot chicken, like mac and cheese, like
ooh.
pickles, like it's so good. And I love Hattie B's. So that's definitely one of my most favorite
That
restaurants.
that sounds really good. Just the name of it itself, and then kind of what you said, the chicken, the mac and cheese, the pickles. I'm sure, yeah, that just sounds really good. Damn. Oh wow. Whew. So I remember you did just mention that you're an independent artist, correct? Yeah. So what is that like for you? Just going through, just moving to Nashville now. Like how was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean it's exciting, but it's hard to be independent, because like people kind of look at you and they're like, well, you don't really have like the credibility, being with
Mm,
a label or management or any of that kind of stuff. But I think when people like start to see like your abilities and like your talent, then they look at you differently. But being someone who isn't with a label and who is independent and moving here basically with nothing at this point, honestly, I've just gotten kind of lucky in like meeting people and having people kind of like help me out and
yeah.
you know kind of take chances on me and write with me and meet with me and all those kinds of things. I've been very blessed, honestly. Like I just don't even know why people have taken a chance on me.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason because you are an up and coming artist and you have a great voice and you have great passion and you're young and you're wanting to learn and you're wanting to grow and you're willing to put the time and the effort in. There's a lot of people that get into the industry of music and entertainment and social media. They don't put the time in. They just think it's, well, I'm here. I deserve this. No, it doesn't work like that. Like you moved to Nashville, like you have a clear head. As long as you keep your head up straight and you keep looking forward, you're going to be fine. People like that. They see that you take the initiative, you're passionate, you own what you do, you're confident. That's what makes it important. That's what matters the most.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how do you balance your personal life with your career? Because I know you mentioned like mental health and you like to go on walks and that's super important for you, but how do you balance your work life, being a country music singer songwriter, and just your, like, I know you said in your free time you like to watch Netflix and go shopping, but like how do you shut that off? Like, okay, today is all about work, and then like the next day or into the next day's like night, how do you balance that time?
Yeah. Well, the industry that I'm in, there really is no break. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty much go, go, go constant. Even if you're at home, like watching Netflix, there's still that like part of you in the back of your mind where it's like, damn, like I should write a song right now, or I should be
Wow.
filming TikTok, or I should be, you know, like there's still sometimes I feel at least like the guilt of like taking a break. I'm
Yeah.
like, so many things I could be hustling right now to like make it happen. But for me, like I literally just have to like, I feel like I turn on like my dumb blonde mode and I'm just like, I'm not going to think about it.
Yeah.
And so I just try to turn my brain off and, you know, call my mom, call my sisters, call my grandma, like talk to family back home, talk about their lives, like kind of see what's going on with them so I can kind of like leave all the work
Yeah.
stuff here. And, you know, even sometimes like, you know, my family would be asking about music and I'll just be like, I just don't really want to talk about it right now. And she's
I
like,
can relate. I can relate to that one a lot. They're like, "Oh, but you dropped the podcast episode," or "Oh, you dropped that clip. Like, do you want to talk?" I'm like, "No, I just finished work." I actually had this similar type thing with my dad on the way home. I was like, "Dad, I'm burnt out right now, but I'm like, got to record the podcast. I got to record once a week. Like, this is what I love to do, but I don't want to burn
yeah,
out because it's like
right.
you said, it's important to not burn out. You're like when you talk to your parents and your family, friends, and family at home, you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to talk to you about the whatever else other than music."
Like, I love you, but I just want to know what you bought at the grocery store. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how it feels.
What's the weather there? Like what's going on? What's the weather there? How is it like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's just so interesting. You just have so many things going on, but what is your daily routine? Like what does that look like for you?
Well, considering I just moved here, it's been a little bit all over the place. Um, you know, at the point right now where like I still need a day job. You know, I can't
Yeah.
support myself on music full time. And so I got a serving job out here and that starts up soon. But right now, like I've just been, you know, messaging a million people and just been like, hey, you want to meet with me? Like, let's go get
Yeah.
coffee. Let's write together. And so my schedule right now has just been like running around, you know, meeting with people and just trying to get to know people, make friends. Like, you know, I don't have a bunch of friends here yet. And so like
Yeah.
kind of trying to create some community and just like get involved and figure out how things work and trying to schedule some shows, some writers rounds, all that kind of stuff.
I'm
So
really
yeah,
glad. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because actually, when I moved to Los Angeles last year and then I left, and now I came back in April, I kind of had that same sense. I was like, I don't really know anybody here. Like, I kind of wanted to shut down. I was like, I didn't really give it a chance. And my second go around, I joined a church here, actually called Zoe here, and I've met a lot of cool people. I've met a lot of cool friends, and they've been super supportive. So I can definitely relate to you on that level of moving to a new city, especially Nashville. Like you said, there's a lot of country music things going on there. There's something always happening. But I was able to find that balance and that sense through the church. It was just really, really nice. I know you said that, you know, you owe it all to God and that. So I can relate to that level.
yeah,
And people that listen to this podcast that aren't religious, I'm sorry, but that's just, yeah, it's just the way, you know, I've
yeah.
grew up a Catholic. So it's,
Okay.
I don't really care. So, but yeah, no, I'm just, yeah, that doesn't bother me one bit. Let them come after me. So, but yeah, no, I'm just glad you said that because I can totally relate to you on that level. I think it's super important. It was just awesome to hear you say that. It's tough. Meeting people is tough. Everyone thinks like, oh, social media and stuff. It's like people are so different than they on social media.
Yeah. I feel
You
like
may, yeah.
so go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go.
I feel like social media honestly makes it even harder because
Yeah.
people are so used to just like texting and talking, you know, through the phone that it's like they don't want to meet with you. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, like I can't. Like that's
Yeah.
scary. I'll text you though.
Yeah,
Um,
they'll text you and stuff, or they'll talk to you on social media, and then you meet them in person. You're like, they're not even the same person. I don't even relate to this person. We don't even have one thing in common. The only thing that was cool was you posted some cool photos, or we related for some odd reason. So I can completely understand that. But no, it's super good to get out of your comfort zone. Like you said, you're in Nashville now. It's great that you're meeting people your age, I'm sure, and people that have already probably done it too, which is cool. So it's great to hear. But before we do wrap up the show, I had to ask you, when are we going to be expecting an album?
well, that's a great question. And my honest answer is whenever I can afford it because
Ah, okay.
very expensive. It's my dream to put out an album. I would love
Okay.
to put an album out. I have all the songs. Like I've got so many songs in my catalog and I would love to like record all of them and just put them all out. But I gotta fund it. So
Ah, okay.
that's my holdup. But hopefully, I mean, in the next 5 years, honestly, like would be hopefully sooner than that. But that would be my goal.
I'm going to piggyback off that. I'm going to say a lot less than 5 years. I'm going to give you a year, maybe two. I think you have it in you. I could definitely see less than 5 years for sure. You got to give yourself some more confidence than that. I know it's expensive, but you can totally do it. 5 years,
I'll
that's way too long.
I'll take that as a challenge.
I'm gonna say 2 years.
All right. 2 years it is. Trissity
Two,
Jane album coming for you.
absolutely. So before we do wrap up, I wanted to give you the chance. If there's anything you would like to say for the listeners back home or people listening, something that's been on your mind lately, something you'd like to spill the beans.
Yeah. I think I would just like to say to whoever's listening, I never saw myself being able to move out from under my parents at 20 years old into one of the biggest cities in the United States and be able to chase my dreams. Like, never in a million years. You told me that I was doing this a year ago, I would have called you a liar. And, I think that just goes to show that like hard work, persistence, like keeping your head straight, keeping your eyes like on the prize, on the goal, like it works. I spent an entire year like not really having any friends, not really doing anything, fun. I was working my butt off and, it's starting to pay off and, not listening to the haters and, the girls that were mean, the boys that were mean, whoever, like it's working out. And, if you're listening and you're in a place right now where you're like, I just feel lost, I feel stuck, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself. Like, I've been there. I was there a year ago. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And like, I just put my head down and worked as hard as I could and made my dreams happen. And if I can do it, you can do it too.
I love that. I just love that. I don't really know what else to say there because I just can relate to that. The best decision I did in my life was move to Los Angeles. And there's a lot of people that have their differences and their opinions about this place and they say, "Oh, the homeless, the crime, the gas prices." I love it here. This is where I want to be. It's where I've always wanted to be my entire life. And I get a lot of hate for it from people back home and, "Oh, why are you there? You could be back home or you could be anywhere else." It's the furthest place from the East Coast. That's where I love. You want to be in Nashville, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams, follow your passion.
Yeah.
Like you
And it
said,
sounds
yeah,
so
it's just
easy, but it's like,
it does. But when you are perfecting your craft and you're working on yourself and you're working on your career every day, it doesn't feel like work. Like I'm sure for you as a country music singer songwriter, probably doesn't feel like work for you because you love it so much. You're so passionate about it. It's what you want to do. It's what you're doing with your career. And I just respect you on a level of 100. It's like the 100 emoji. I respect it, throwing all the 100 emojis because you're doing what you love. You're passionate about it, and that's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. I had the my guest last week. I asked him. I said, "What sets you apart from other celebrity makeup artists? What sets you apart from other people in your industry?" He said, "Nobody. I'm me. They can't replicate what I make. Nobody can replicate what you make, Trissity. It's your music. It's your story, it's your journey, it's how you write it. You can listen to other people, and that's great, but at the end of the day, it's how you write it. And
Yeah.
that's just, I think that's super important there. My guidance counselor in high school said to me, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. You're just
Yeah.
getting started. So I just respect you on a whole nother level, and you're defying the odds. You're pushing yourself to the extreme, and that's what matters the most. Life is short. Do what you love. Do what makes you happy. So I'm just really glad you said that, because that's one of those moments that I won't forget. I have people on here a lot, and some things resonate with me and some things don't, and some things it sticks with me. I have a very hard head. It's hard up here. There's a lot of stuff going on up here from work and content and podcasting. But when people say the meaningful things, that really sticks with me. Not what you
Yeah.
had for lunch. I probably won't remember that. I probably used to. I'll remember your name. I'm trying to remember people's names more and more now, but I can relate to you on that. But before we do wrap up, 5 questions to end the show, always for my guest, to kind of get a little more inside for you. So first one, what is the best advice you have ever received?
Oh my gosh. That's such a hard question. Probably my dad. He he always told me that people won't remember what you wear or what you looked like, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And that has always resonated with me, in everything I do. Like I want people to remember me in a good way because I made them feel good.
Wow. I like that one a lot. What question would you like to answer that you wish more people would ask you more often?
Oh. um Maybe what's my Starbucks order and can you go get it for me?
Oh my goodness. All
I
right, fair. All right. How would you describe yourself in one word?
um Man, you're asking me some tough questions out here today.
Yeah.
Probably say resilient.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Playing the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, I like that one a lot. What is your most embarrassing memory from your childhood?
Oh my gosh. Probably man, I still don't think I can live this one down. I don't even know if I should share it. When I was in like probably 8th grade, I had this fascination with like zombies. And I dressed up as a zombie. I got really into like Halloween makeup. I dressed up as a zombie and went around my neighborhood and like just messed with people all by myself, like as like a middle schooler. That's pretty embarrassing to like look back on because
Yeah, that's funny though.
that's
I mean,
pretty
hey,
bad.
you were young though, so you kind of got a pass. That's hilarious though.
I'd probably still do it today, to be honest.
So you're a Halloween person then?
I love Halloween. I'm like such a Halloween, love October, love scary things. Yes.
All right. So what are you dressing up for Halloween this year? Have you planned that yet, or is that too in advance?
I mean, I have a lot of ideas, but I can't really decide yet. So I don't want to be something basic. I gotta really think on it. Like I gotta
All
show
right.
out. It's my first Halloween in Nashville.
Yeah.
Like I gotta show out for sure. So I gotta go to the drawing board and think about it.
All right. I can relate to that one because I still don't know yet either. Hopefully not something cheesy. Last year I did Top Gun, and then I also did Elvis too, which worked out. They both worked out
I should
cool, but
Elvis.
yeah, I did, but I want to do something different this year. So I'm still trying to think. All the costumes are basic. It's kind of, you just have to be creative with it.
Yeah. Like I could be Barbie, but like everyone's gonna be Barbie this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
guys are gonna be Ken and Barbie, of course. I hate spending money on Halloween costumes though, because you only wear it once. I'm like,
right.
then I also have friends. Last year when I was in Florida, I went home for Halloween and I had friends wear my costume. I'm like, yeah, sure, you can wear the costume. Like, sure, I paid for it, but sure, yep, pass it on. You can wear it too. I'm like, and then they wore it out, and then one of the things came off. I was like, I'm throwing the costume away. I paid $80, $90 for it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It is. Yeah, Top Gun costume. Yeah, I know. I'm like, can't reuse it. So luckily the Elvis one actually returned to Amazon. I packaged it all up nicely. I said, here you go, take it back. So yeah, the Top Gun one I really kind of just got thrown in the trash. But
Yeah,
guys,
I
that'll
own, so
yeah, guys, that'll do it for us. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 74. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast, 210,000 plays on YouTube Shorts all time. But before we wrap up, Trissity has to plug her socials, and then we'll get out of here.
yeah, y'all can check me out on my TikTok. It's at Real Trissity Jane. And then my Instagram account is at Trissity Jane.
Well, Trissity, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Your story is enlightening, it's inspiring, you're motivating, you're super confident. And what really stuck with me the most throughout this episode, I owned it. You said I owned it, and that's what makes you you. And you're just going to keep going. You're going to keep pushing yourself. And you've only been in Nashville for 2 weeks. That's what's even crazier. And you're already making these connections. I'm going to give you 2 years. You'll have your first album out. You'll be signed to a record label. You're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep going. But I loved this. This was awesome. I'm so glad you got a chance to come on the show. I'm so glad you shared your story. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, as always, the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast on Spotify, the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast on Apple Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. We'll see you for episode 75. Till then, stay blessed. Keep your head up. We'll see you next time.